Hello and welcome to today's Jacuary upload. Yes, it's a live stream. The reason for that is that I didn't have anything else to post. So there's been so many things, and also I've been shooting some stuff for next week that's going to go live next week. So that's kind of why we're doing a little live stream. But I thought it would be nice to do some answer some questions and have a little chat. It feels wrong to do a video without the intro. I've got my laptop. I could maybe play it. Would that be weird? Would it be weird if I did that? I think, I can see your questions on the screen, so that's good, because I really didn't know how this was going to work. I'm quite, for someone who uses technology for like their job, I'm quite inept when it comes to using technology. How addicted to TikTok are you? So addicted to TikTok. It's my favorite thing. I am obsessed with it. I love it. There's not a thing about TikTok that I don't like. Actually, okay, that's not strictly true. Like, there's a fair few. Trying to think of what TikToks I would like immediately skip past. Probably those ones where it's like, when it's like a couple and they're like, who's the funniest? Who's the most likely to say I love you and not mean it? Like, I don't care. Water for life. Yes, I should clarify, even though this is in a gin glass, it is water. How did you know you wanted to do English literature at university? Well, it's always been my favourite subject, like all the way throughout school and stuff. I felt like that was always probably what it was going to be, but then I also really loved history. So then I was debating between English and history, and then it kind of went to different, like, one thing I'd really recommend doing is going to like department talks when you go to university open days, because you get a real feel for what the subject is actually going to be like. And for me, I was like, history just ain't it. It's just not the one for me. I think it sounds so interesting, and I do envy people who take it sometimes, but I made the right choice, I think. The questions are going so fast, like my little brain can't read them. Any travel plans for the new year? Yes, I am going to Marrakesh for my friend's birthday, which is so exciting. That is in like 2 months, maybe. And then I'm going to Thailand and Malaysia over the Easter, which should be so fun. I'm very excited about that, to get my backpacker mode back on, because I love that part of the world. I love getting to see loads of different places. I'm actually there for Thai New Year, where apparently they have like massive water fights on the streets. Like, everyone has water pistols and just like shoots each other, and so I am down for that. What do you think about criminology? One of my best friends does criminology, and it sounds so fascinating. She's going to interview some people in like a local prison and talk to them, and that sounds just so fascinating. What other universities did you apply for? I applied for Bristol, Exeter, Oxford, and York. Although if I could go back, I wouldn't apply to York, Bristol, or Exeter. I think I'd apply to Edinburgh and St Andrews. Maybe I'd still apply to Exeter. I did like Exeter. But also Exeter was like was the first university I went to, and so I feel like I definitely look at it through like rose-tinted glasses, because I was just so excited about the fact that it was like a real university. Oh my goodness. What's the tea? I wish there was tea to share. I wish there was tea to spill, but I have none. Actually, so what I've just been up to is I just got home from a sign language lesson. I don't know if I've really spoken about it on this channel, but I started taking sign language lessons at the beginning of the like academic year, and I love it. Like, it's the most fascinating, interesting thing. So rewarding, because you pick it up relatively quickly, because obviously the words are English, and so you kind of are using symbols that we would probably commonly understand anyway. So that's super cool. Today we're doing like a recap lesson, and this is so exciting. So my teacher is off. Well, okay, so it's not exciting that my teacher is off at the moment. She's off for like 3 weeks, but we have a cover teacher who has a hearing dog, which is a dog that like wakes her up in the morning, and she brings it to the lessons, and it is so sweet. It's a spaniel, and I have a spaniel at home, so made me miss my dog a lot. And it's just like just such a sweet little dog. It's got such a baby face. So that was a good sign language lesson. I was quite distracted, I can't lie, by the dog. How to get through a book quickly. I have a whole flipping video on that, my friend. Basically, I would say use your finger to like trace the words so that you make sure you take it all in. You don't want to read it too quick. What master degree do you want to study? Like English still, English literature. But the way that master's schemes work is that it's like time period. And for me, modernism and like the modern period is the time period that I really find very fascinating and interesting. And I read quite voraciously because it's my favourite thing. The Victorians, I really love reading Victorian literature. Is that true? No. I like studying Victorian literature because it's interesting and it's different, but I'm just not very good at it. I'm just not very good at reading it or writing about it. Like there's certain time periods that I'm just not as great at or even good at. Whereas modernism is kind of my thing. Is that gin? No, it's not gin. Let's see. What is your favourite book? My favourite book that I've read recently was a book called Funny Boy, which is this incredible book which kind of combines like personal identity politics with national and domestic politics, which I thought was really, really fascinating. And it's kind of a book that is brought together through 6 kind of short stories, but they all link and it all have the same characters, but it's like different stages in their lives. So it's super cool. Favorite place in Britain? That's a good question. London is definitely where my heart is. Like I definitely will move there at some point. Durham will always have a little special place in my heart. Also Stratford-upon-Avon I think is lovely. Big fan of that. Someone just put Wales. I do love Wales. I went to I filmed with Bambino Becky in Neath. And like Swansea kind of area, that was kind of my main experience of Wales, but it was lovely. It was very nice. One book you could recommend, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. I think that's a cool book. What was your least favourite subject at school? Do you know what I hated was like design and technology, which I think would probably surprise people because I'm quite creative. But I just I was like sitting there like, why am I here? Like, not in that way, but I was like, I would rather just be using creativity in a different way than like building a pinball machine out of planks of wood. I don't know, and like a spring. Yeah, DT was not really my thing. Also, like at my school, cooking was part of DT, and I was just like perpetually bad at cooking. I used to have an agreement with the person who sat next to me that if he cooked the food for me, I would do his washing up. So it's just essentially cheating my way through that. It wasn't like a GCSE or anything. I dropped it like it was hat. Also, surprisingly, geography. I really didn't like geography at school. Now I think I'd probably find it quite interesting, but at the time I just didn't. And also science. I'm listing most of them. Also maths. No one talks in my accommodation. What can I do? I would say one way maybe to get people to talk and like start a conversation, you could bake a cake or bring some snacks and just put them in like your communal area and just put on a group chat being like, hey guys, like there's some stuff out here for you if you want it. I wanted to share it with you. I think that's a cool way of getting everyone involved and like just drawing them out of their bedrooms. But if like your accommodation isn't the one, in terms of like finding your closest mates, then clubs and societies, your people will be there. Do you know anyone who does history at Durham? I do. He's in my kitchen. My housemate does history. If you have a question, then send it quick and I'll try and read it. Have you been to an Osborne's Monday? I don't think so. Although my favourite nightclub in Durham is temporarily or potentially permanently closed, Jimmy Allen's. And I'm honestly gutted about it. Can we have a kitchen tour? You don't want to see that kitchen, my friend. So yesterday I tried to... so I've just started with a PT, and one of the things that I need to do is have like these like protein shakes, I guess, but with like oats and stuff in. And so I tried to make one for the first time, and I So my blender is broken, so I phoned up my housemate who was in the library to be like, hey, can I borrow your handheld blender? And I was like, I've got no idea how to use this, but we'll see. And my biggest fear was that if I used the handheld blender, because it doesn't have a lid, well, as soon as I put it in, it would explode. So I phoned her up and said, like, I'm worried it's going to explode. And she was like, no, it won't explode. You're going to be fine. What happened? It freaking exploded straight away. Turns out you're meant to turn the blender on when it's already inside the fluid rather than before you go in, because I literally went like brrr, everywhere. So, and protein is like sticky as well. It's like protein and milk and oats all over the kitchen. So basically that's why you can't have a kitchen door. Obviously I tidied it up, but like, what other subjects you took for GCSE? And I also just saw, do you play a musical instrument? I did guitar lessons for a bit, but my teacher was so creepy that I just gave up. Like, that sounds weird, but when we would play a song, and I really enjoyed learning, but we'd start playing a song and he'd like sing along, and I was like, shut up. It was really distracting. He was just a bit of a bizarre man, so I quit. GCSE subjects that I took were history, Spanish, drama, media, business, maths, English, biology, chemistry, physics, statistics, and probably something that I've forgotten. Did I say history? Probably. Best advice to be productive whilst you have a hangover. There is no cure. It doesn't happen. Just accept your fate. That's terrible advice. Study tube. I don't know. What can you do on a hangover? Drink lots of orange juice, maybe. Get some vitamins in. How's the book reading going? Yeah, so I set myself a challenge to read 115 books. I was 2 books ahead of schedule, but I'm reading Trainspotting, which is taking me a lot of time. So now I'm 1 book ahead of schedule, but that is rare. Like, that did not happen at all last year. Last year, for most of the year, I was like 14 books behind schedule, because Goodreads like tells you how on track you are. Tips for drama GCSE. Own it and believe in the character that you're playing. Face the audience at all times. Think about different ways you could say each line. That's one tip my drama teacher used to say to me, like, there's always a different way of saying a line. So actually, while I was out teaching English in China this summer, during the daytime I taught like primary school age students. They were like 10 to 13. And then in the evenings, I did like a class with university students, like local university students, and they wanted to improve their presentation skills in English. So we basically did some exercises with them, and one of them is saying, I didn't say you stole my money. And you can take that sentence and you can exaggerate a different word and accentuate a different word within that sentence, and it gives it a kind of a different meaning. So that's quite a cool game. So you can be like, I didn't say you stole my money. I didn't say you stole my money. Does that make sense? Like, that's quite a cool way of experimenting with that. Opinions on Harry Styles. Obsessed. I think he's amazing. I think he's awesome. He's an icon living. That's my opinion on that. And also, his album is fantastic. What are your favourite songs? Let me know. I'm the one that I keep listening to at the moment. At first, I listened to Falling and Adore You a lot. And now Cherry, I think, is my go-to. Even with the voice. I saw a lot of opinions on the voice note at the end, but I think it's quite cool. J'adore. Coucou. That's what it goes like. I'm not just being a freak. I'm trying to read the questions. Tips for writing a CV. I've done this recently, actually, because I had to do a CV for my master's application. Actually, interestingly, I always thought that putting my YouTube stuff on my CV was like, ooh, the employers will hate that. They'll think I'm self-obsessed, or like it's not a proper career, or blah blah blah. But my master's, my dissertation supervisor was like, that should go at the top of your CV because it's what makes you unique and it's what you do. So I think maybe that's a tip, like play to your strengths, even things that you think are embarrassing or that the employer might not love. If it's unique to you, then it is cool and it will make you stand out. So there's a girl from my block at uni who I really like and I'm living with her next year. Bad idea to try my chances with her. Listen, my friend, don't do it. Don't shit where you eat. It could be a nightmare. I know far too many people. I've met far too many people who have got into a relationship with someone that they were living with, and it just goes a little bit pear-shaped. So I wouldn't recommend. However, if you think that it could be the best thing that ever happens to you, then who am I to tell you? Or I would definitely say make sure that she feels the same way first, because otherwise, that could be a bit awkward. What societies are you part of at university? Climbing. I'm actually wearing I don't really know why I've got my coat on still. It's kind of freezing in our uni house right now, so that's sort of why I'm layered up. But I actually have my climbing jumper on. It says, so basically it's like Cuds Climbing, and I am social sec, so I run like the bar crawls, the social side of the society. And so my jumper says, Jack Edwards, social climber. So, yeah. Which I kind of realised might look like a YouTuber reference, like it looks like Social Climbers merch. Touch Delight, who? Tips for getting yourself out of a procrastination cycle. We love forgetting how to read, even though we do a whole degree in reading. Getting out of procrastination. I think one thing that's really good is to one thing, I just got distracted by a question and now I can't think of anything other than that. Focus, Jack. One thing that I think is good to do is to focus on active relaxation. So give yourself times where it's not procrastination, it's just relaxing, because just because you're taking time to yourself doesn't mean that it's a bad thing or that it's not productive. It is. So be real with yourself. If there's no chance that you're going to get any work done for the rest of the day, stop feeling guilty that you're watching Netflix, or that you want to watch Love Island tonight, or that you want to go play a board game with one of your friends, or just the thing that happens at uni. The biggest time vacuum is just when you sit and just chat to people, because all of a sudden 4 hours have passed and you're still in that same position. But I think there's an element of be honest with yourself, be real with yourself. You need to relax, you need to chill. So just let yourself have that time and then come back again. Tomorrow morning, get up, shower, get in the zone. Take yourself off somewhere where you're actually going to work. Leave your phone at home or something. I don't know. Yeah. Should be revising for mocks, but instead you're here. I appreciate it. Thanks. We love just distracting people with these videos. Best advice for cramming. I am a crammer. I think the thing is you can cram cleverly by knowing what you're going to cram ahead of the game. So make your flashcards and stuff now and then use them to cram. There's a big difference between doing that and cramming. Oh my god, I've just pressed a button. And cramming just the night before and starting your revision the night before. That's different. What's your favorite thing about this crazy YouTube community you've created? Everything about, okay, right. So right now, I've just turned my phone on in my living room and we're having a chat. That is crazy to me. That is the most cool thing about it, really. And also the friends that I've got to meet. I love nothing more than being surrounded by creative people. And, so for example, I've done a bit of presenting work, and that is such a privilege. And when I go on set for something like that, you've got the cameraman who knows absolutely everything there is to know about cameras, and his camera looks like a medieval weapon. And then you've got someone who knows everything there is to know about microphones, and so I once had one stuck to my chest here, and at the end of the day, he rips it off because literally took off all my chest hair. That's beside the point though. But yeah, I think that's the coolest thing about is being surrounded by creative people. And so with meeting up with YouTubers and people who do this as well, I just feel like I get such a buzz from that kind of thing and get on with people so instantly. Yeah. Favorite song at the moment? Ooh, good question. Favorite song at the moment? Oh, the new 1975 song. I think it's called You and Me Together song, Me and You Together song. It's one of those two, and it's great. It reminds me so much of their old stuff. It reminds me of being 16 and going to see them in Brixton, and yeah, just so cool. It's a super cool song. Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish? We don't need to pit them against each other. Personally, I think both are wonderful, but I would probably listen to Billie Eilish more. But they're completely different artists. We don't need to be pitting these successful people against each other, you know? That's the cool thing about anything like music or films or YouTube or anything. Like, there's no need to pit people against each other because you can enjoy all of them. Hola. I don't know. Do a meetup. Yeah, I would love to do some kind of event actually at some point this year, like an Access event or an event where we can all just hang out. I think it'd be so cool to get to hang out, because whenever I get to meet people who watch my YouTube channel, they are so interesting. I had a conversation yesterday. I was in the Students' Union just reading my book, and these two girls came over and said hello, and they were so lovely. The other day I was in the British Library, and the girl sitting next to me said hello and that she'd watched the videos, and they are just such interesting people, and I just want to ask them everything about their lives and find out as much as I can. And so a whole event of you guys would be madness. And also I feel like if you all watch me and I would get along with all of you so well, then you'd definitely get along with each other. So it'd be really cool to all hang out and just be chaotic together. What should I write in your habit tracker? So in the new Ink Outside the Box planners, the 2020 planners, there's a habit tracker in the back. I put things like go to the gym, get like 8 hours sleep, eat all 3 meals in a day, because sometimes when you get like caught up in craziness, it's easy to forget to eat and that kind of thing. Just habits that you want to make happen, put them in there so you can keep track of them. Would you ever visit Zimbabwe? I would love to. That would be awesome. There's not many places that I wouldn't want to go to. Yeah. Come to Spain. I used to go to Spain a lot actually when I was a kid, because a lot of my family live out in Spain. Pretty much all of my dad's side of the family live in Spain, which is really cool. They live in a lovely place behind you. But they live in a lovely place. And then I read a comment that said, "Who's that behind you?" That's my housemate. So funny. I just like, my brain was like, on to the next thing. I'm done answering that question now. Favorite alcoholic drink? Pornstar Martini is my go-to. Drink responsibly or not. You're your own person. You can decide. Favorite poet? One of my favorite poets recently that I recently discovered was Sadie Smith. No, what's her name? Oh no, Stevie Smith. Stevie Smith. She's awesome. She does these like cartoon illustrations alongside her poems. Now I'm questioning whether that is her name. I think it's Stevie Smith. She's really cool. Wooden Spoon, season 2, please. I would love for that to happen. I hope it does at some point in the future. Personal statement tips. The tip that I was always given was to do like 80% academic, 20% personal. That was what I was told. And also just like be honest about what you've read. Also, you can like read stuff in preparation for your personal statement. Like, that's super cool. Listen to podcasts, TED Talks, that kind of thing if you haven't got something. Also, if you need to find a way to prove that you're interested in a subject, like do an EPQ on your subject, or do some active research, like read a book, listen to some podcasts, that kind of thing, like actively research it, and that's what they're looking for. So, how do you improve your self-esteem? I tried to open that quietly. It looked like you were like a sim when you just got stuck. I was like looking at the camera like, see again. That's so funny. Bless him. I'm just trying to open the door super quietly so that it wouldn't be disturbing. What do you think about the University of Warwick? I have no opinions. I don't know anything about it, but I'm sure it's great. Did you do an EPQ? I did. I did an EPQ on. So the title was, "Does Holocaust fiction vilify its German protagonists?" And so basically, it was about how German people are represented in literature that is about the Holocaust. As in like ordinary German citizens. So not like officers or people who were part of the Nazi party. It was like just ordinary German citizens. So for example, in books like The Book Thief, Sophie's Choice, The Boy in Striped Pajamas. Yeah, a few others as well, which I wish I could remember right now. Can you remember the quadratic formula? Hell no. Absolutely not. I don't remember pretty much anything from like maths GCSE beyond adding, subtracting, multiplying, and the other one, dividing. And a square plus b square equals c square, but what does that mean? I couldn't tell you. Oh, someone said, how do you improve your self-esteem? I wish I knew, but what I would say is own it. You are, remember who the hell you are, you know? You are the best version of you that you can be, so why not? I love that. How did you revise English Lit GCSE? Make quote banks, so a big document with all of your key quotes in that you want to remember, and add in a section for analysis so that you are forcing yourself to constantly be thinking deeper than just regurgitating quotes. Like, there's literally no point in doing that. So, were you always good at English? That's I think it's always been my favorite subject, but like not necessarily good at it in every way. Like, there was obviously times where I've struggled with certain things up until last week, you know. That's just the nature of it. But it's my favorite subject to study. Who is your favorite housemate? Oh my god, I love all of them. I've lived with the same people for this is my 3rd year of living with the same people, so I would find it so bizarre. I'm gonna find it so strange not living with them next year. Any advice for a video interview? That's actually a good question. One thing that because I've done video interviews before, I did one last summer, and I found it really bizarre, actually. So what I would say, what I did the second time I had a video interview was just practiced kind of answering potential questions with my webcam open, so I had to do it kind of being able to see myself. I think that kind of helps you get used to talking online. Also, just before the video interview, just do that for a bit and talk to yourself almost on FaceTime, so you get used to talking to the camera. Oxford rejection advice, please. Okay, so undergrad applications results were released a couple of days ago for Oxford and Cambridge, I think, and I get it. It's a horrible feeling if you find out that you didn't get into the university that you wanted to go to, and that applies to any uni, not just Oxbridge. That's not just reserved for Oxbridge. What I would say is give yourself time to feel that emotion and appreciate it, in the sense that if it's something that meant something to you, then naturally you will be upset. And what is really important is understanding that and giving yourself time, to be kind to yourself and giving yourself time to get over it. I think that we probably do live in a bit of a culture where you just have to dust yourself off straight away and go on to the next incredible thing and prove them wrong straight away. But I think it's actually also really important to let yourself have time to get over it. And that's with any rejection or any failure. What you perceive as a failure right now could turn into your greatest success at some point. But that doesn't mean that you have to not feel it right now and feel sad. Having said that, give yourself a week to just be okay, that was rubbish. This is a horrible feeling, and I'm just going to be kind to myself. Next week, that's when you dust yourself off and you're right, okay, these are the ways I'm now going to prove them wrong. This is my next plan of attack. Am I going to reapply next year? Am I going to go somewhere else and potentially go there for a master's, or whatever you want to do? Do you like Hamilton? I haven't seen it, but I would love to. I think I always say to myself that I'm not a musicals person, but actually, whenever I've seen one, I've really enjoyed it. So, but maybe it's the kind of thing that I don't necessarily want to go to a musical every week, like some people, and that's super cool if you do. But when I see one every, say, year, I really appreciate it. I think they're good. Also, just quickly back to the Oxbridge thing, I'm really sorry if it didn't work out for you, if any of you are watching this and it didn't work out. I hope you're okay, and you've got this. just a little quick one to say. You'll look back, you won't believe the difference a year makes, and you'll look back and realise that it wasn't the end of the world, even though it felt like it right then. Do you like Newcastle? I think it's a lovely city. I haven't had a chance to go that many times, which sounds silly when you live so close to it, but yeah, I mean, for me, nights out and stuff is always about the people you're with, not the place you are. So I don't really go to like Newcastle for the big crazy night out. But yeah, it's a really lovely city. I went there with my parents at one point. Okay. Future merch plans underway. Firstly, it's not merch, it's merch that isn't merch. It's like I wanted to make a product that wasn't like merch necessarily, like you didn't even have to know who I was to enjoy it and appreciate it. We are working on some new things with Ink Outside the Box, which I'm really excited about. If you didn't know, I've gone on about it a lot because I worked really hard to get this sale, but we're basically doing a 50% off sale on my Ink Outside the Box brand, my merch that isn't merch. It's 50% off at the moment if you use the code JACKUARY, so J-A-C-K, my name, U-A-R-Y. So like a bad pun on January, I'm really sorry about that. But of course my discount code had to be. Oh, you got your planner today! Yeah, that makes me so happy. Honestly, it makes my year when I see someone with the planner. Like, it's just, that's so crazy to me. Okay, I'm gonna stay on here for another 5 minutes max because I'm going to an event tonight. It's like a debate. I went to one last night with the Durham, with the Cuts Feminist Society, which is the college that I'm in. It was such an interesting debate. And then I'm going to one at the Durham Union tonight. Most hated book. Ooh, what is my most hated book? Wieland? It's like W-I-E-L-A-N-D. Really hated that book. Do you often see your friends from YouTube? Spent New Year's Eve with them. See them a lot when I'm at home. Not really when I'm at Durham, which is sad. Just because Durham's so far away, it's not like they could just come to visit necessarily. How many tea bags did you need for the tea bathtub? I think it was 80. I think there were 80 tea bags in there, but many of them split, which is probably why the colour was so like dark. Okay, let's do like 3 more questions. Favorite YouTuber? Cool question. Eleanor Neal. I'm obsessed with her in every possible way. I feel very lucky to call her a friend. She is just awesome. The content that she makes is fantastic. It's some of the best on YouTube. Her Twitter account is golden. She's great. Other favorite YouTubers. Kate Elizabeth, I think, is awesome. And a lovely, lovely person. The way she edits, I think, is just so fantastic. And Ben Morris, again, the way that he edits is mind-blowing. Really cool content creator, so original. Everything he does is just great. Also, George Mason, really big fan of George Mason's channel. Let's see. Okay, right, 2 more questions. How many languages do you speak? I barely speak one. I speak English, nonsense, gibberish. Does that count as 3? Okay, so English. I did Spanish GCSE and was actually okay at Spanish GCSE, but I just lost it, which is a shame. It's one of those things where I think you need to practice. I also did a Latin GCSE. Again, couldn't tell you very much of that now. Little bit of French. Je parle français. But I really don't. Je parle français. That's very much the extent of it. I would love to be able to. One of my like life ambitions for something I need to do before I die is to speak another language fluently. What will happen to your channel after you leave university? I mean, it will still be here, and I'll still be uploading as long as it makes sense to. Yeah. I hope that I hope that you guys stick around and you still want to see that stuff, but I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. Yeah, okay, where are your glasses? I've got contact lenses in. Okay, that's my last question. And it's like, I want to stay on here for longer, but like, I really should go. I really can't stay. So thank you so much for watching this video. This has been day something of Jacuary. Don't forget, we still have 50% off on inkoutsidethebox.co.uk with the code Jacuary. I'm going to go to a debate, and then I'm going to go to the pub because it's Friday. 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 I promise I haven't had a pint yet. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little live stream. Send me any other questions that you have for me on Instagram, Twitter, and all that kind of jazzy stuff. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye. How do I turn it off? Oh, it's that